to, thank you, Maya. Welcome to the module 4 of the BearingPoint Academy. For the participants, I know you're all eagerly waiting for to learn more about pitching and storytelling. Of course, you learn about on how to build a convincing story and all the aspects that you need when building, or rather when pitching a business idea to potential investors moving forward. So welcome so much. Of course, only welcoming you to this session, and then I'll hand it over now to the speaker of the day. Thank you so much. Welcome. I wish you all the best. Learn as much as possible and grab as much as possible. Thank you. Welcome and all the best. I hand it over to Anne. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Victor. I hope you can see my screen. Perfect. So first of all, also from my side, hello and welcome to this final module. So just so far, take a moment. You made it almost to the end of this academy. Today is the last, let's say, theoretical session where you get input from us. And the next time it's only up to you. It's a closing session with the pitching. So therefore, today it's, let's say, the last milestone of your journey, or the second last milestone. So please feel free to enjoy it and ask all your questions you haven't asked so far, and also provide your comments and feedback if you want at the end of the session. All right. Before we start with the module on storytelling and pitching, I just want to let you know, thank you for handing in all the templates from the last module. So the basically a homework or post-lecture assignment. I saw that many of you had specific questions or asked for feedback. So when we go into the breakout sessions, your coaches will help you with the questions and also provide you some feedback on the templates you handed in, so that you can get specific value out of that. All right. So what is our plan for today? So on our agenda, we would like to start, first of all, with the theory. In this case, it's not really the theory, it's more telling you or giving you good tips and advices on how to conquer the art of storytelling and pitching. After that short introduction, it's completely up to you. You will have a long breakout session to prepare and work on your pitches. After that, you will have a bit of a break where Jimmy Tune will join our session and tell us more about his story and his startup. And there you have plenty of time to ask him more questions. I saw on the Clock Zoom board that none of you had handed in some questions. So therefore, I would kindly ask you, if you have questions, either post it on the Clock Zoom board, write it down in front of you so that we have plenty of material to discuss with him, because he will join a session to be one of the experts, and it would be a pity to miss that opportunity. And after this interesting inspirational break, we go back to your pitches, and there you will have the first opportunity to present the first draft of your pitches, receive first feedback from the jury, so that you can work and improve those points for the closing session next week. And as usual, we end with a summary and wrap up. All right. Let's start with the introduction to storytelling and pitching. I don't know whether I would like to start with a question. Have you ever had the feeling that you sit somewhere, or that a person is in front of you and this person starts to talk for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, and you're listening, but at the end of his or her speech, you're not really able to grasp what the message of this entire story, of this entire lecture, or just of these 5 or 10 minutes was? If you have experienced this, then there was a very good or a very bad example for storytelling. Because when you master the art of storytelling, people will listen from minute one and will get the message in the end and will follow you throughout the entire journey, what you want to tell them. So therefore, storytelling is the most powerful way to put ideas into the world. And today, this module, we want to share with you some tips and tricks how you can master this art. Because if you have a brilliant idea, but are not able to communicate it in a way that sticks with the audience, then it won't be realized. So therefore, up to now, we gave you very practical tools and templates and theoretical knowledge on how to build your startup. But today is a turning point where we want to hand you over some methods or the art of turning your brilliant idea into something, or at least to communicate it to the people so that they actually will remember it and will help you to realize this idea either by, for example, being an investor, by being a potential team member, or just by giving you support. And today, therefore, it's a turning key for you to put your brilliant idea and your theoretical knowledge into action where you can actually communicate what you have in mind. To give you some practical steps on how to do this storytelling or what that storytelling means, I researched 7 specific steps which can help you to lead or to give you guidance on how to do a good storytelling, especially in your pitch or when you communicate the idea of your startup. First of all, know your audience. Ask yourself, to whom do I speak? What are the interests of this group? What is the age? What is the profession? What are their passions? Etc. For example, when you talk to a group of kids, for sure you use a more colorful and simple language than if you talk, for example, to a group of scientists or technicians. And that's basically the same for your pitches. And when you tell the business idea, if you tell it to your family member who has no previous knowledge of the subject or of the idea you have or the service or product you develop, use simple words. If you are in front of an expert group or people from the field you're coming from, for sure you can use technological terms and very specific words, and they will understand, but always make sure that you have the right words and the right language for the people you're talking to. Step 2, choose a clear central message. So ask yourself, what do I want to tell? What is my key message? I think you have plenty of examples in your mind where people start talking and you couldn't figure out what the point of this entire speech is. So in order to make it clear from the beginning, choose your central message. Good examples for the storytelling, or especially how to build a story, in that case are fairy tales, for example, or fables, where you have a clear beginning and then this entire story with a plot in between, and in the end it comes back to the original point and gives you some sort of learning message. And that should be the same also if you talk about your startup or if you present your startup. Have a clear central message and make it simple and specific. Step 3, hook your audience and engage them. So how do you hook your audience? The best way is to involve them emotionally. You can easily involve people emotionally if you tell, for example, a good story where they can relate to, where you have some emotions, a story which awakes emotions, so that they can feel some empathy with you, or that they can start to relate to you and to what you're telling. For this point, how to hook your audience and what kind of emotions you want to create and trigger. For that I have a different slide and a bit more let's say, medical background on it so that you know what kind of cocktail you need to trigger in your audience to hook them entirely. Step 4, be clear and concise. When you tell a story make sure that you always stick to the red line, that you have a simple and very clear path you follow. Often we tend to start telling a story, having like plenty of little side stories which are starting to happen and just moving around, and in the end you put everything together and try to fix it. But if you tell a clear story with your startup, with your pitch, then make sure that you have a simple red line which can be followed by everyone and doesn't need to be is not very complex to follow. Step 5, mind your personal experience. So another example how you can hook your audience is, as soon as you implement authentic stories into, for example, your pitch, your story about your startup, people get more engaged because they feel what you're telling is true and is based on your life. So, for example, when you explain your vision or mission of your startup, and you have an authentic, good story to tell why you were moved to fund something or to create a certain product or to or a specific service. Use those authentic stories to make them engage, to make your audience engaged, and also to just incorporate them along the way, because it's for people it's just boring to hear facts. But as soon as you start telling a story, you will always get the attention back of your audience. Step 6, be aware of your body language. So studies show that 70% of our communication is nonverbal. What does it mean? Nonverbal is how you stand, what you do with your hands, what you express with your face. Even when you're talking, it's the volume, the sound, the intensity of your voice, not even the words you're saying, just how your voice sounds. It's your eye contact. So for example, I think every one of you knows best what type of person or what type of presenter, public speaker you are. There are, let's say, two extremes. On the one hand, you have those really timid and shy persons who stand in front of a crowd, who are a bit more closed, for example, like crossing the arms, just staying there a bit smaller, a bit crunched together, have a very, 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 very like subtle voice, talk very fast and not too loud because it's not too nice. You see, it's not so nice to listen to. So if you're this timid person, try to speak up, try to put your shoulders back, try to speak a bit louder and slowly so that people tend to pay you more attention. And then if you're telling a story and it should be emotional, when there's laughter, when it's funny or sad, express it with your face, use your hands, and just underline what you're saying. Then you have the other extreme, which is a very outgoing person. Every time when they speak, they are just expressing everything with their hands, with their body, with their mind. And you see they're almost jumping and I don't know, not jumping, but like really filling the stage, and it's almost too much to follow them because they are too active. If you are this super outgoing person, try to take a step back, to control a bit more your hands, to adjust the pace of your voice to what you're saying, and maybe to hold back a little bit, because when you're acting too much, it can be also a bit overwhelming. So when using your body language, evaluate what type of person you are and how you can work on expressing yourself best and improving your body language in a way that people really grasp the attention. And the 7th step is have a clear structure. So ask yourself, how can you structure your story? How can you structure your story that everyone understands? It starts with a clear message, it starts with a red line, and it starts also with just having a structure where you go, for example, from the beginning to plot, to turning point, to solving the conflict, to the end. That you just have a nice line on how to create and tell a story. To help you structuring your story, for example, of your startup, there are different components that can help you to structure your story, such as the plot, the setting, the characters, the point of view, and conflict. So normally your story should be built like a little mountain, let's say. So you have a plot, which is basically throughout the entire story. Then the setting is the start, where you describe in the beginning, just to grab the attention of your audience, to build or draw a picture in their mind so that they're really there when they start. And then you introduce different characters. Make sure when you introduce characters that they are not too many, that they are clear and simple, and that people can differentiate them. For the point of view, make sure when you tell a story, especially if you're pitching and you only have a limited amount of time, that you always tell your story from one point of view. Otherwise, it gets really confusing when you start changing the point of views in your story and people get confused. If you have a limited amount of time, for example, during pitching, just use one clear point of view and go through it. And then the fifth part is when you follow this idea of this little hill, you have the plot which is throughout the entire story. You have the setting where you start with, you're introducing the characters, you're introducing the conflicts, for example, with the characters. Then you have a little on the top, the little turning point where the conflict is highest and you create suspension and people are really involved in the story and are emotionally engaged. And then with the turning point, you start to solve the conflict coming to an end. So that that your audience can expect in the beginning, okay, I'm set in the story, I get introduced to the characters, I'm introduced to the conflict, I see how it evolves, how it gets, how the suspension is built, and then how it solves so that in the end, everything is clear and I can take my takeaways, my clear message from it. By using those 7 steps and the 5 components, you try to aim to create certain oh shoot, now the word is missing, sorry, but certain emotions in the human brain, certain hormones. And there's magic cocktail, it's called magic cocktail, we try to aim with our storytelling, which is that we want to create dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins. What is dopamine? So dopamine is a hormone which helps to focus, to get motivated, and to memorize something. So why is it important for us? By creating, for example, suspension. People tend to focus better on your story and to keep your story in mind. And when we translate your story, basically your pitch, just a pitch or the story of your startup, they keep in mind what you're doing and what your idea is. So therefore, we aim for dopamine in the beginning. Secondly, we have oxytocin. Oxytocin is this very diverse and interesting hormone, which helps you to bond, to build trust, and in the end also to create or to give you in the mood of generosity. And you can translate basically that you start to feel human or that you start to feel empathy. And these characteristics are important for you because you want to build trust in the people you're, for example, pitching to and your investors. You want them that they can relate to or bond with your idea. And you want them to fall into that stage where they feel generous and provide you, for example, with investments. So therefore, oxytocin can be the turning point of your pitch if you're a good storyteller. And thirdly, endorphins. Endorphins is basically the hormone which makes you relaxed, creative, focused, and which creates laughter. So for example, when you have a tough crowd and they look very critically, and you manage to tell a story that they, for example, start laughing, they're falling back into more relaxed and not so critical mind. And since you have those people in a more relaxed, not so critical mind, it's also easier for you to achieve what you want and to win them over with your idea, with your pitch. So therefore, if you're successful in storytelling, this is a magic cocktail you want to achieve in your audience. So after giving you a short introduction into the art of storytelling, which is basically can only be achieved by training and repetition, I would like to give you a quick guidance on how you can create a good pitch. So what is pitching? Pitching is basically presenting a business idea to another party. So that's very simple. How can you do that, or what type of pitchings exist? You have, first of all, the elevator pitch, which is a small summary of what you're doing and what your business does and what your main idea is, which you can use as an introduction, and is not longer than 30 to 60 minutes. As a pre-work for this module, we provided you some templates on handy introduction or elevator pitch, which you were able to fill. So I think at least this part should be covered. And there you have some examples on how to use it. And secondly, you have your, I would just call it pitch, because let's say your idea is always the same. And also, let's say the content of your pitch is the same. But what changes is your audience. So therefore, you always adjust the pitch or the deck you have to the focus length and language of your audience. So for example, when you have 5 minutes, you have a reduced deck. If you have 10 minutes, you can have a longer. If you have 20 minutes, even a longer deck, so or a longer pitch. So therefore, always adjust it according to the situation you're thrown in. And also, again, know your audience. For example, when you talk to a board of investors, they are more interested in, first of all, the general idea, and then the numbers and the growing potential. So what can they get out of it after a certain amount of time? If you talk to a bunch of engineers who are more interested in the technical feasibility, then they're not so much interested in the business numbers, more in how your product works, for example. And so focus your pitch according to the audience you have in front of you. How can you create a strong pitch or a strong pitch deck? Don't start with just saying what your product is and then all the numbers. I can guarantee you it will bore your audience massively. Walk your audience through your pitch so that they can start to engage and get hooked by it. And first of all, start with explaining the problem. So what problem have you identified? What does your customer need? Where do you see a discrepancy in the current market situation? So that the audience first of all understand, oh, there is a problem, and now I understand what type of problem it is. And then secondly, bring them to the solution and say, look, there's this problem, there's a situation, this is critical, but we can solve it. And one solution can be the following. And then after explaining the problem, presenting the solution, then you're just jumping to your product and your service, how you can solve this situation. By doing so, you take your audience from the very beginning, hook them in the beginning, walk them through so that they see that your product is one part of this solution and is actually valid and make sense in that context. And not stopping with your product, but even going further, how to hook them in the beginning is to show them what the opportunity is. Because your audience normally sees a problem, sees solution, thinks, okay, there's a product, but now you need to convince them why is it important right now that you implement your product, that you implement your service? Why is it so critical for them to take this opportunity? And by doing so in the beginning, let's say in the first quarter of your pitch, you get them hooked, you get them involved, you get them emotionally involved, so that the other 6 steps or the other 6 components are more informative, and that the audience really will listen to it with a great interest and not sit there listening to some numbers and saying, oh yeah, that was interesting, thank you so much. No, you want to start with the first 4 parts to get them hooked, and then to have them involved throughout the numbers and more facts, so that in the end they have a complete picture and will keep you in mind. So therefore, see those 4 first components at the basis. If you do the basis very well, then you hook them for the end of your pitch as well and for the next things too. Because step or part 5 to 10 is basically the essential of your startup and the details of your startup, where you just show your audience, for example, the investors, that you are capable of realizing this idea. And so you have as one component market size. In the last module, you learned how to calculate it. Here it's important that you show them what kind of market you expect to tap into. On the 6th point, you present the competition, or at least explain a bit the market, what your competition does. Please be aware here that you're always kind to your competition as well. So don't trash talk them in front of investors or something. It's not professional. You can state what they are doing, but you can also clearly explain what they are not doing and what their limitations are, and why you and your product, your service, it's right fit, let's say. So therefore, make sure when you talk about competition, be respectful, don't trash talk them, but clearly show their limitations in a very nice and polite way. And for sure, take close the circle and show your investors why you can fill those limitations of your competition. As a 7th part, it's your business model. Also, last module you worked on it, you have a business model canvas, so that should be also an easy one. As an 8th component, it's the team. Investors want to see that you thought about your startup, that you thought about your team. What does that mean? For example, if you have a strong and diverse team in regards of skills and mindsets, normally investors trust you more to be successful in implementing your business idea than when you have a very, let's say, narrow-minded and homogeneous team. So therefore, the team can be a game changer, or one of the key components or key informations investors take to judge whether your idea can be realized or not. Then 9th is basically traction. So traction is how you can grow, or how much traction you can gain with the product and service. So it's basically predictions in the future on how much market you can achieve, how you can develop over the next 1 to 5 years, and what type of traction you will gather. And as a 10th part, for sure, the financials to show some numbers so that they also have the financial confidence. In the end, based on your audience and the requirements, you can also add different points, such as your marketing concept and roadmap, the call to action, but that depends on your audience and the setting you are in. But please keep in mind that those are the 10 essential key parts which you should not miss in your pitch. How to create a powerful pitch deck. There's a simple rule by Guy Kawasaki. I hope that you watch some introductory videos as a pre-work for this module. They explained it a bit more in detail. And he provided this very simple rule. He is a very known or highly known business angel. And he heard plenty of pitches throughout his entire life. And he said, there's one rule, if you follow it, I would say at least you have 50% of your pitch already saved. Because he says, don't have more than 10 slides. Your slides is not that you read through it. It's not a book. It's just an help of what you're saying. 20 minutes. So if you have 10 slides, then you can only talk 20 minutes about it. So have a small slide deck and talk and maybe have 2 minutes per slides. And then the third advice is use font size 30 on PowerPoint. People tend to produce slides which are very small and filled with details. The problem is when you present those slides to someone, they are lost reading in the details. They're not listening to you, but you want your audience to listen. So therefore, use font size 30. Only put the key messages on your pitch deck, on your slide deck, and don't overload it. And here it's also important, choose a very clear and simple design. The slides doesn't need to be super colorful or fancy or anything. Just make them clear and nice. And only put the very important messages and font size 30 on it. So if we want to summarize what we learned about the pitch so far, we have 10 components, which is, or we have the structure of the pitch, which is the problem, solution, product, opportunity, market size, competition, business model, team, traction, financials. Then you have the recommendation from Guy Kawasaki, who says, have a maximum of 10 slides for 20 minutes and use font size 30. Make your presentation, your slides very clear and simple. And always keep in mind when you put together a slide deck, adjust your pitch to the audience. So with that in mind, we would like to send you to your breakout sessions. In your breakout sessions now, you will have the challenge to work as a team and to create your first pitch deck for your business idea. Most information you need for your pitch deck, you've already created throughout this academy. If you work together, or not if, but you should work together. And the simple way to do is if one of you opens a PowerPoint and shares it with the entire group so that you can work together on the same slide deck. So make sure that one of you is the PowerPoint creator and then that you work together on it in a shared mode. You will now have 90 minutes to create, first of all, the first hour, the pitch deck, and then to use the other 30 minutes to train your pitch and to practice it. Today, we're not asking you to come up with a pitch of 20 minutes, but to present as a shorter pitch of 7 minutes. So what does it mean for the 10, 20, 30 rule? It means you have 7 minutes, so 2 minutes per slide, meaning you have a maximum of 3 or 4 slides. to present your startup or your startup idea, your business idea. And the 30 is the same, use font size 30. All right. Does someone have a question or remark regarding the module or the breakout session work input? Good. I see no one speaks up. Good. Then I would say that we will meet.
Sorry.
Yes.
I had a quick question on the team. Is it the group team or the team that you can partner with to make your idea work? Because we had a misunderstanding on that in our group.
So now you're working in the groups you've been working with for the last sessions. So it's group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with your specific names.
Oh, okay. That's clear now.
Okay.
I have a question too.
Mm-hmm.
On the team, but not like today, because I know today the team is the group members. But maybe in future I want to pitch about my idea. What should I include in the team? Is it the management of the company or the project that I want to do, or you have to include even the employees or everyone who will be involved in the product?
So normally you present the team you're currently working with. So I don't know, when you have a startup idea, and how many persons are you in your team?
For example, you have an idea that you want to create, maybe let's maybe like a production company, you see, and then you have the executive members, the ones who will be managing the project. But also in that process of production, or in that process of making that product, you will need other people, like people who will be doing camera work, people doing this job and this job. So should you include only the ones who will be involved in the management of the product, or even everyone who will be contributing to the product?
Since you're talking about a startup, you're not presenting the structure you want to build. You're presenting what you currently have. So for example, when you start this idea and you're on your own, you don't have a team. So you can't present your team in that slide. If you have the idea.
I can't hear you well. The audio is like scratching.
Okay. Is it better now? For example, so when you start your startup and you have one co-worker or one other teammate, a co-founder, second co-founder, then you include them in the team slide. I think Amos' connection is still crashing. Maybe group 1, can someone specify the point in the group?
Anne,
Mm-hmm.
I think, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
No, I can't. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think Amos was asking a personal question, not the question directly to our group.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. It's just maybe the point about how you present the team, you can specify it in your group work, because you need to show it on slides anyway, and that's a good training.
Okay.
That would be nice. Thank you,
All
Deborah.
right.
And Amos, let's take it up in our next mentoring session. I think we can work something out together.
I think he dropped out. So, but
Uh-oh.
I mean, you will meet him anyway, right? So
I'll take it up with him.
okay, great.
Great. Okay, if there are no further questions, I'd suggest that we take now 90 minutes. So we meet again at, oh, what is it? It's 4:15 our time, and it's 6:15 Kenyan time. Right? Good.
Yes.
And since you have 90 minutes, coaches, feel free to have a break with your team whenever it's needed. So yeah, it's up to you. And then good luck with the work. I'm very excited to see your pitches by the end of this day.
And have fun.
And have fun
with your
as well,
pitches
yes.
when preparing it.
I will open the rooms. Please accept again the invite you get.
Thanks, Maya. Victor, there. So, welcome back, everyone. Next on the agenda, we have the guest speech by Jamie. You know him from the first module. You also had a lot of questions, I remember. And today we welcome him back, and we also want to give you again time to ask all your questions, to learn from him. And he will now also focus in the next couple of minutes a bit on the topic of today. So pitching, storytelling, and some do's and don'ts, tips for you guys for all the pitches you will do in the future. And Jimmy, should I just go ahead and start with the video, or do you want to say a couple of words before we start?
No, please go ahead.
Okay. Then you can see Jimmy in the Lion's Den.
Lion's Den, powered by KCB Bank.
Do you hear my sound?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Next in the den are two entrepreneurs from Mombasa with an eco-friendly delivery business.
Hello Lions, my name is Jimmy Tune, the CEO and founder at Crosstown Courier Limited.
And I am Zilpa Meris, the marketing director and co-founder.
2 years ago, I found myself among a group of organizers for a county event. We made very many letters which are to be distributed to stakeholders who are going to attend this event. 2 weeks to the event, we realized that we had very few RSVPs. We were worried. Upon investigation, we realized that the messenger department did not deliver all these letters. The event was poorly attended, and it was a loss to this organization. And this is where Crosstown Courier was born. To bridge the gap of a reliable professional messenger service, we've also developed a mobile application that is linking service providers to their clients. So the app is simple. It is downloadable from the App Store, whereby the users can be able to order for gas, they can be able to request us to pick their clothes from their estates to the laundry shops.
And our chief mode of operation is our e-bikes and normal bicycles. We have built our company from ground up. We are very passionate about what we do.
We are seeking 1 million shillings for 20% equity in our company. This money is going to be used to buy a minivan and a three-wheeler. Our orders are expanding, and we need to meet our market demand at the moment.
Some of this money will also go into advertising and expansion.
When was the business started?
We've been in operation for 12 months now.
What have your revenues been to date?
In the past 1 year, we've had 700,000.
Turnover?
Yes, 700,000. We've had expenses of 420,000, and our net profit has been 280,000.
Okay, and what do you project over the next year once you get your minivan and three-wheeler?
We're expecting to go up with at least 30% in our net profit.
Tell us about the competition in this space.
Our competitors currently are Modern Coast and Sandy. So Modern Coast is not established to do within city deliveries. We are not linking cities, but we are more specific in bridging the gap within office to office, estate to estate.
We have divided our market into zones. We have 4 zones in Mombasa.
Okay, so the business is mainly operating in Mombasa at the moment.
At the moment in Mombasa, yes.
What kind of service providers do you have on this app?
We have restaurants, we have the laundry guys, and we have gas refillers and chemists.
I think it's safe for us to first inform you that we already have our app, we've paid for it, everything. So we need the network to launch and bring people on board. But everyone we've talked to, the restaurants we've talked to in Mombasa.
What you've just described isn't yet operational.
Yes, it's our next step.
But what is the plan? How are you planning to charge the service providers?
Yeah, on the advertising part and featuring them, we are going to get a certain percentage on the sales that we are giving to them.
Okay, so you haven't thought through the price point?
We've not exactly figured out, because as we start now, it depends on the traffic we give them. And then so it's going to change gradually as we move ahead.
The entrepreneurs
Over to you, Jimmy.
Thank you so much. Hi everybody. I wanted to start with these presentations to set the pace for the pitch and how we do the pitch. So this, just let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I wanted to set the pace with that, so that then this is an example of a pitch I did like 6 years ago when I was in the Lion's Den. So I thought it would be relevant to start from there so that everybody can see. Yeah. So now getting to our presentation today, I wanted to quickly share tips from then to now with regards to what the learnings are and what we can also do when we are preparing our pitches. I know today we've had sessions on pitch and also other ideas from the mentors that have shared before. So to set us up, maybe I can quickly throw it to the audience. What did you pick from this pitch? Maybe like 3 people. You can just randomly tell me, can raise up your hand to just say, what are the things that you can relate with to the pitch at Lion's Den that I have done? Just randomly.
Personally,
it has a background story.
Thank you, Jen. Another one?
the financials, like what you have made, the profit, and also the projection of whatever you will get if you get the funding.
Thank you, Amos. And the last one?
It has the market validation part.
Duncan, unfortunately, we cannot hear you. At least me. Duncan, if you can hear us, you can maybe type, because we cannot hear you.
Like you're well prepared for the pitching.
Unfortunately, we only heard the 2 last words.
I'm saying.
Yes, now.
You're answering the question.
Unfortunately, you're gone again. Maybe you can type. Sorry, Duncan. You sounded like a very slow robot.
Okay, if I can say another thing also, I liked how you took turn, like when you were presenting, you didn't present alone. So the lady on marketing side also was adding points, like it was something that was very well prepared and practiced.
Yeah, thank you so much. So using that, then I'll quickly take us through to what I wanted to share today. Give me just one moment. I share my screen. I think I had it here. Just a moment, please. here. Sorry about that. I think it's here, not here. So maximum and then let's share it. Just let me know once you start seeing my screen. Share that.
Yes. Now we see it.
Okay, thanks. Here, good. Now, so yes, pitching. What is pitching? Pitching, basically, when I was thinking about it, is really the it's a game of persuasion and convincing other people to buy into your dream, right? So it could be a customer or an investor. You want them to take part in your journey. It could be them putting money, or it could be a client that you want to buy. So pitch can be to a client or to an investor. So in this presentation, I've really used the example of where we are. You know, the other time I presented with eWorker. So this is what I will be sharing examples from, right? I just wanted to take you back. That was when I was pitching for the logistics company, right? Which was my first company, right? So there are 5 areas that we will discuss in this pitch structure: is what, when, how, where, and when, right? So I'll start with the what. What exactly do you want to do? You know, what's the problem you want to solve? And it should be very clear. You know, it should be very clear what you want to solve. No one should guess which direction it's taking, which area it's going. You know, it should be like, when you tell me, I remember, right? So like for eWorker, it's really about the loss we are getting from traffic congestion, as you can see, the pollution, but also what last mile, what's the opportunity in last mile? You know, that's the problem. Basically, we are solving a pollution problem at eWorker, you know? And then why? Why are we doing this, right? Why should we be focused in the sustainable path? You know, why is it important for eWorker to survive today, right? So apart from the problem that we've identified, we've seen that there's an explosive growth in e-commerce, which means that, you know, this is an opportunity, basically. In as much as we have a problem, it's an opportunity. So the reason why we are doing it is that there's an explosive growth of e-commerce, you know, and the need for a last mile sustainable solution. So it's very important to really be clear why you're taking that path as an entrepreneur. And then the third piece is the how. After you've identified the problem, you have your why. The other piece is, how are you going to solve it? Explain the solution. You know, what really do you want to do? And most of the time, this is where you really need to throw in your USP, because then if you are in a new space, maybe not, but if it's a space that has existed, the question is, what are you doing differently as compared to other players who have existed? This question will always come from investors, you know, like, what are you doing differently? And what's the uniqueness of your product compared to other people, you know? And then, so the example we give for eWorker here is that we are really transforming the urban mobility, you know, but how? We have electric cargo bikes, you know, but why those electric cargo bikes? So then we've designed them with the African landscape in mind, right? So you know that electric bicycles in Africa is really not common. So you really have to defend the part that how this is the vehicle that you're actually using in a place that people are used to, for example, the motorbike, you know? So after you do your how, now you need to go to your where, right? So you've said how we're doing it. We have electric cargo bikes that are very steady, designed and built for the African landscape. Now we're saying, where are you going with all of this, right? What's your projection? You know, in the previous company there, you could hear the investors ask, what's your plan? We've seen what you have done. You have really told us, it's convincing, but then how are the next steps looking like? right? Where are you going with all of this? You know, so you have to say clearly defining the plan, right? Some of the times it's not clear, right? And I'll come to that when I'm going to the end of the presentation. So for us, where we are going is that we want to provide innovative models, which include decoupling. Decoupling just means, you know, in EVs, you can remove the bike itself and separate it from the battery, right? So what does that mean in terms of the future? Because today we are selling everything as one, or the lease and rental is happening on one product. So the future, which means it's scalable and cheaper, we're going to decouple the bike from the battery, right? And then also we are working on the delivery platform, which is an add-on, because then it means you can provide more merchants. And when you provide a platform for merchants, it also means that you can put in more bikes, because then the demand is there, right? And then when are you going to arrive in those solutions, right? When are you arriving? So you need a clear timeline and the deliverables in terms of saying, what do you want to achieve and what timeline are you giving yourself? So in this case, for example, for us, which is the practical thing, is that we've deployed 800 bikes, and we have a plan of deploying at least 2,000 by the third quarter, right? So this is where we are going. That's the dream, that's the vision, right? And now the sixth part is where you share your, because this is where we want to go, we know. Mostly investors want to know, okay, what do you want, right? What is it? Do you want money? Do you want mentorship? Do you want advisory? Do you want in-kind support, right? So then after they know now where you want to go, then you're saying, okay, this is my ask, right? This is what I want. So for us today, you know, we have proved the concept, we've seen it's working, and we are seeking $2 million investment. And then now, what are we going to do? Because we have to also say this part, we want 2,000 new electric bikes by the third quarter, like I said previously, you know? So the ask should be clear, you know, how much are you looking for? There's the other question also that comes, what kind of investment is this? Is this a loan? Are you looking at equity? Are you looking at convertible notes or SEFs? You know, so basically, like you saw in the what was shared previously with Alex, it was, I think, like 3 minutes. That's long, right? But if you can even bring it shorter, you need to say everything in at least 1 minute, right? So then after you do that, at least someone knows what you're looking at, how much you need, and then the other piece is what type of funding is required. Then I put down some general rules. First thing is, should really know your audience, right? Like before I went to that pitch then that 6 years ago, I really, well, now I've done so many pitches. I didn't have one that was recorded properly like this one, but really you read beforehand. So you look at who is sitting in the jury. If you have this information, read about them, understand their background, and then speak to their hearts, right? Make sure they really understand you. Not everybody would know exactly what you're talking about, right? And then number 2 is keep time. There are different levels of pitch. Like I said, you have 1 minute, sometimes 3 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. So based on the time you are given, you are always ready to custom a presentation that fits that time. You know, you shouldn't overdo it or underdo it. It should be on time. And then be prepared. Just take time, go through your presentation, understand what questions might come out. Like if you realize in the pitch example I gave is that they were really interested in how much money you've put in, what are the losses that are coming on, right? What is the profit you've made, if any, so far? So that really gives you an idea what you prepare, because you know those things are not in my deck or slides, but I had them at the back of my mind because these are things that could come up, right? And then the do's. So some of the do's that I put in is, for example, is to have your numbers at your fingertips. You know, when they're asking about profit margin, how much have you spent so far? You need to know. It needs to be like on top of your mind. And then the third piece is to be investable. You know, investors invest in the business, but a huge percentage goes to the person they're investing with, right? They need to know, are you like somebody who can be trusted? So you need, as you're selling your business, they need to see the passion in you. They need to see the drive that you're really interested to provide a solution and you're the right person that is running that, that business. And then number 4 is to be honest, right? And share your story. So honesty is more, you see, like towards the end, they asked us, so this thing has not started yet. You guys, this is just a plan that you have, you know, so we needed to, so at that point, you need to just say, yeah, it's true. We are just setting up and it hasn't worked, but this is the plan, right? Of course, at this time, when I was showing you about Iwaka, you could see some things have worked, there's traction, then you're building up. At that time, 6 years ago in the previous company, it was really more of, it's not there, but there's a plan, you see. And then now they can, if you're honest enough, then they invest in that. So let's come to the don'ts, because this is connected. Don't exaggerate. There's really the risk of exaggerating just to show that you're doing well and there's good times and you're the right person. You know, this will catch up with you most of the time, because then if you exaggerate and probably people put money in you, then you put the standards high and then you can't deliver, then you're in problems, right? The other piece that you shouldn't do is to use complicated terminologies. Like before, we used to say things like multi-modal micromobility solutions. It sounded cool, but the investors didn't understand what I'm talking about, you know? So you have to say, okay, it's just two-wheelers, it's electric bicycles and motorbikes. Then everyone knows what we're talking about, you know? So you just have to sieve and see what is the best terminology to use and who are you talking to. And then also, they will always ask you about competition, like you had there. They ask, who is their competition in this space? So I had to say, yeah, I know my competition. At that time, it was Modern Cost, but this is what they're doing, and this is what we're going to do differently, right? So you just have to acknowledge and appreciate the fact that there are competition in the space, because also sometimes it validates that, you know, it validates the USP that you're offering to the investors, you know. And lastly, you shouldn't overshare details. You know, I know there's the tendency, because you know your business as a founder or entrepreneur, you're really interested to go deep into the details, sharing how a morning looks like, how many books you have and everything. Just try to sieve what is important, right? Just crisp, clear, this is the net profit, this is the loss, this is the money we've put in, right? Sometimes they would need that data, but until when they ask for example, if they ask how much are you paying your cleaner, for example, you know, that's not like a very relevant detail, but at least you have it in the financials, you know. So I think those were the do's and don'ts and the general rules that I could come up with. And yeah, so I think I wanted to keep it short so we can engage. This is my final slide, so I hope I'm on time.
Yes, Jimmy, you are. Thank you so much for your pitch, your story, but also the do's and don'ts. I hope all of you listened closely. So we are looking forward to seeing you implement them next week at the latest, but maybe even today already when you practice your pitch for the first time. And now basically it's open. Ask all your questions. Jimmy is here. You can write them in the chat. You can just raise your hand. You can unmute yourself. Last time I know there were still a lot of questions, so really take the time to pick Jimmy's brains and learn from his experience. Anyone who has a question?
Hello, Jimmy.
Hi, Duncan.
Hi. So, at what point of your business did you decide that this is the right moment for me to start pitching, look for investors, because you said you had already started and the business had some cash flow in it. Can you like just have the idea in your head alone?
Don't be shy.
Then
I can tell you, team.
and just ask for pitching for and just go to the pitching directly without having implemented the idea first.
Yeah, thanks for that, Duncan. I think, yeah, you know, everything begins with an idea, right? You first of all have an idea of the solution that you have. And most of the time for me, if I define idea, is really a solution that people are willing and able to pay for. Just that. That's like the starting point. Now, once you have this is already, it's like the way you have diamond, but it's really still in the mines. You've not really brushed it off fully. So there are people who will see that as is. There are people who will be like, no, 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 I prefer to see this in a showroom where it's already refined and cleaned up. So you'll find both levels. So what I mean is that when you just have an idea, first of all, you need to be clear exactly what that is solving. Of course, I'm sure you've gone through the model canvas and everything. So then at that point, there are people who are able to find you. Like this is how I also go support initially. You just need to know what you need to start with. Maybe you don't need a lot of money already when you begin, but you need some seed, right? That's what they call it. This is just some seed for you to start off, right? So don't be shy. Just go out there, try to talk to someone on what you need. Most of the time, what I would encourage is to just start with what you have. It always gives you credibility. You see, for us, by the time we're going to the Lion's Den, we had tried to work with what we had, which is like personnel. These are like Zipper is my friend from campus. We're on the same campus, but she bought into the vision as well. So meaning she could put in her time to working it out, you know? So see around, there's always something you can start with initially and then move from there.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, I have a question. On the dues number 3, being investable, like how would you gauge like the type of shares like maybe the investor would get from your company when maybe the idea has not yet been implemented, and how many types of okay, will you elaborate more on that? Because I got like when you were being asked questions on the Lions Den, you said about some 20% investment, something or shares. So how do you gauge that?
Yeah, that's a good question. To be honest with you, even that time I didn't know. Right? And later on is when my mentors called me and they wanted to understand what we call a valuation, right? So normally when you start a business and when you have progressed a bit, even when you're still starting, there's value you put into that business, right? And then that translates to the value that the company is worth, right? And that in totality is called the shareholding of the company, you know. So shareholding can be done like I think in 3 ways. One is the much you have put in. You know, they asked me that along the way. How much have you put in? Have there investors that put money in you? Let's say if they put in 1 million, it means, of course, there's plus 1 million. Then maybe you can quantify your capital as sweat. Let's say you're a founder who is not paying yourself. So you can say, well, with my skills and everything, I was supposed to be paid, let's say 10,000 per week. So this translates to this much. And then you also add that as part of the equity, right? So this is based on assets, basically, right? There's number 2 way of valuating is through the market. So every market has its valuation. Like if you're in commerce, if you are in hotel industry, there's always they'll say like the hotel industry is valued at X amount. Then the way you do it is then say, okay, based on the unique thing that I'm bringing into the space, I believe that I can take maybe just 5% of that market. Then that can be also translated into the value of the company, right? So this is not very common, And then the last bit is the practical one, is really how much has been put in. So it's a combination between what you have put in as sweat capital, but also the loans or grants that have already come into the business, and the assets both in kind and finance, right? So at that point, to be honest with you, I didn't know what I was talking about, to be honest, but that morning, I remember I had just tried to read a bit. Then I said, okay, because I need this much, I think my company is this much. And then that's what I put out there. But then, so we were offered whatever we asked for, but we ended up not taking it, because then once we did the valuation, we realized that for 20% equity, you should actually get more. So basically got better offers, because this was on national TV, and guys were calling across the country with different counter offers on that.
Thank you. And okay, I'm asking about the financials. When you say that we should not overshare details, but also at the same time, let the numbers tell a story. So okay, definitely when it comes to all these problem solution, you can explain them without including too much details. But when it comes to the financials, like the investor maybe wants to know how much you need, where will you spend the money, how much you will make in a year, the break-even point. Like, okay, to me it sounds a lot of details, but when you say do not overshare the details, I'm kind of confused. Like, I don't know what to include when I'm talking about the financials.
I see. No. So let me clarify that. I think here, this was my ask, you know? So I said, this is the much I need, and I need that money to do this, right? So it's really high level now. I need the 2 million, because then I'm gonna put 2K new bikes. So it's really high level, but of course that's not the whole information. So I think just to clarify is that you just need to provide the most important piece of finance information that is interesting at that time. Then, of course, for me to arrive at this number, I have some things, I have some Excels, right? I know how much one bike is. I know how much I'm going to use as operational capital. I know how much is licensing, legal, overheads and all of that. But then you can't go, because then you have little time, unless if it's a lot of time and they tell you specifically, we need this information, then you can give it. But I think you just need to mention high level. Of course, when you finish your pitching, there's Q&A. They're going to dive deeper into the pieces that are not clear.
Yeah. Thank you.
Most welcome. Yeah. Any more questions?
Another question, Jimmy, about your competition. I read somewhere that you are not supposed to dwell much on your competition when you are doing your pitching, because it's mainly about your idea. So how much do you need to know about your competition? How much are they going to ask you about your competition?
That's a good question. So it's really about knowing what they're doing, because you really, first of all, when you're getting into any space, you need to know who is there, what are they doing. That's the first thing. And then what are you doing differently? So the reason you know your competition is because you know what they're doing and that you are doing something more, something different. So it comes up because then an investor wants to know why you, right? Why you? If maybe it's a bottle of water that you're packaging and reselling, and there's another guy doing the same thing, then what makes you different? So it normally comes in to see if you know your environment and what are you doing about it. So it's not to go there and really magnify what the competition is doing. It's really being aware that, yes, I know these guys are there, but this is what I'm doing differently, you know, and then that's part of your pitch, that's part of your selling.
Okay, thank you.
Most welcome, Chief. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, Kevin.
I have like 3 questions. Number one, let me generalize it because you are from Iwaka. So, what are the challenges has Iwaka faced in establishing itself as a leader in the eco transport, and how have you overcome them? Then question number 2 is what are some of the common mistakes that entrepreneurs make during a pitch?
Thanks for that, Kevin. So the challenges that we faced initially, as you know, e-mobility is a very new space. There are not many people who are conversant. So there's a lot of ignorance in the market. People are asking you always like, what if I'm riding the thing and then the battery dies on me on the road, right? Or are there spare parts, right? So I think the main challenge has been ignorance, or rather lack of awareness. So we have to really create a lot of education, let people understand what this is about, what are the benefits, you know, why this is a game changer. So there's really a lot of education that is going into the marketing for people to really understand. And then also it's like a mind shift, you know, because long time ago when there were people are using horses, and the first car came, you know, people are always asking, okay, but it was the same question, you know, because you couldn't even picture petrol stations. And so it's the same story right now, because people are like, okay, so what if the charge ends on me? Back then it will be, what if I don't have fuel on me, right? So you also have, again, to build the infrastructure and the ecosystem to support the product. So meaning charging and swapping stations, or giving people chargers to charge at home. So this was one of the main challenges. And number 2 was the price. Of course, these things are not cheap. You have to really convince someone why an e-bicycle is better than an e-bicycle, you know. So again, back to the awareness because of the price differentiation. And then to your second question, which was on common mistakes in pitching, I think don't cram. I think there are people who have the tendency to cram things. When something is mentioned off your pitch, you basically get completely disoriented, you know? So don't cram. I think just know your product, because that's your business, and whoever you're going to talk to, don't know about it. You are the one who knows it better. So just be comfortable. And so long as you've prepared, then you know what you need to deliver, you know? And then number 2, again, is to not have the numbers right. Like common mistakes is, for example, if you're asked, how much did you make in the past month, or in the past week, or in the past year? You know, at least these are bulk numbers that you should have on top of your mind, like I was saying before. So I don't know if those answer your question there, Kevin.
Thank you so much. I have 2 more questions, then I'm done. Is that okay? So as a successful entrepreneur in Kenya, what methodology do you use as an entrepreneur to solve your problems? You know, we have different types of methodologies to solve our problems. We have like design thinking, we have brainstorming, yeah, you name them. So what have really worked on you as a successful entrepreneur?
Thank you, Kevin. I think for me, there are 2 things. One is what we call the agile methodology. So basically, you should be fluid. As a startup, you should be very fluid. Like if you receive intel about the market that is solid, that, for example, it's what, let's say the customers want to charge at home, for example, in our case, you have to investigate that quickly and know if you need to pivot to that, right? Also being careful that you're not swayed, right? You have the foundation of the model, But agility basically means that if there's some very strong intel in the market that comes to you, you are agile enough to like pivot quickly, you know. So for example, if you're doing a model, let's say we focus on renting and maybe people want to buy, you know, you need to know, okay, if people buy, what losses am I making? You know, or what money am I making, but how do I turn around that quickly? Then if, for example, is the opposite, they want to rent, then what is the benefit for you in that? Because I'll tell you today, we had one competitor who so there were two things that they didn't do right. One was the vehicle itself was not a very sturdy bike because it was a cheaper bike in the market. Now we came in to the more expensive bike, but then it does the job. Now it gets to a point where the consumer is like, okay, should I take a cheap thing that doesn't work for me in the long run, or should I come to a solid product? You know, so now they're trying to play catch up. But of course, for us on our side, we need to be ready when we're taking the risk to bring a better quality product, but more expensive. What does this mean to the space? You know? So I think, I don't know if there was another question. I don't know if I got that.
Yeah. The last question was, I've actually been watching your traction, and by the way, congratulations, you opened a new market in Rwanda. Congrats by the way. So by now I can say you really understand how the African market is really working. And we have really met with a lot of young entrepreneurs, ambitious entrepreneurs. So what are some of the challenges that young startups and entrepreneurs in Africa really face?
Thanks, Kevin, for following the journey, and greetings from Kigali. So I think the challenges is really, now let me come back to when I was starting. You know, at this point, most of us have not really held like cash that comes in. Let's say if an investor gives you money, you know, we have many problems, eh? Let's be honest. So when someone is willing enough to invest in you, I saw this with some of my peers then, is that you receive, for example, 100,000 shillings or 200,000 shillings. And then this money, for the first time, maybe in a long time or in your life, you're getting really money that you can access. It's not money that you need to ask permission for. It's not money that you need to write a letter to the principal for you to use. It's there. You can see it. Now, even education by there and do this for many of us. They did this for us, right? And the question is really now, what do you do? There's the temptation of really solving many of your family problems or your own personal problems, you know. And I think this is where the problem begins, because it's a huge temptation to divert, and you see no one is watching you, right? And no one is watching. It's just the discipline that you, as with your vision, that you want to keep, right? And to your question there, I think this is the pivotal point, because if you put the money to the right place, you are disciplined enough to really put it in where it should go. What this does to you is that it builds confidence, if even in the people that are giving you this investment, that really you are investable. You know, you are passionate, but also you are committed to this journey, right? So the major pitfall is, there's an African saying that we read in the office the other day. It says that a cat who wants to be a lion needs to stop being distracted by the appetite of a mouse, because you'll never be a lion. You'll just remain on short-term gains, right? So I think for me, that's what I observed and learned. And I think if you're willing enough to receive small monies and straight through, then people will also trust you with bigger monies, right? And that's how it went, because then they kept investing. They would come and check, what is the traction, what are the numbers, and they'll be like, okay. Then you come again, like I said, truthfully. If you did something, you failed, you say, look, this, I tried, I put in money in here, it didn't work, right? And I want to do it better like this. And then, you know, you do a back and forth. And then also one of the things is to really have a mentor. You really need people who believe in you, you know, and in these programs, we're very lucky, because then you have access to a pool of experienced professionals who can really sit with you. You can schedule times across, and then just ask, you know, just be ready to receive that guidance, and be ready to receive positive criticism, because then that strengthens you. See, like when I pitched at the Lions Den and I sent the clip to my mentors, they're like, okay, hold on, but how did you arrive to this valuation? What are you really, did you think this through? Why are you offering 20%? What does it mean, you know? So you need people who also check you. You need to be checked by people who really want the best for you as well, you know? So those two things, the pitfall there, the financial indiscipline, and also number two, like having people who really positively criticize you, but who also want the best for you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Murakoze.
Murakoze.
Thanks, Kevin, for all the questions. Do we have any other questions left for Jimmy before we go to the pitching? And then Jimmy can be the positive critical mentor he just mentioned. Does not seem so, JB. So first of all, big thanks from our side for having you a second time, and you will be back next week, right? As a member of the jury when the groups present their final pitches. So yeah, big thanks from BearingPoint and Education. I think also in the name of all participants, I can say it was great to have you these two sessions and to for you to answer all the questions everyone had. But now let's move to probably the last part before you will then face the jury next week on Tuesday, where you can now practice your pitches. I think your coaches told you have around 7 minutes each. If you can keep it to 5 minutes, even better. But I think Anne will tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, correct. Actually, there's nothing to add. So you have 7 minutes now. We said you present in front of a jury. So the jury is basically us, the coaches, Jimmy and Alex and myself. So we are a friendly jury. We give you valid feedback. Please add it to your list so that you can incorporate it in your presentations. And to not waste more time on just technical infos, I would love to ask Group 1 to present their pitch.
Maybe just to add one thing, Anne, next week during the final pitches, so the groups will have to be ready for everything. So you need your own pitch deck. You will share the screen. Please make sure that you have really, I know sometimes it's difficult, but that you have a stable internet connection. Not everyone needs to present, but those who do present, please turn on the camera. So really, you need to be ready with everything. And from after today until next Tuesday, this is your time as a group to prepare your final pitch. Right now, it's just to practice it. So if you have already prepared some slides, please share them yourself. You can also just speak freely, whichever way works best for you. But just so you know more or less the setting next week. So Group 1, who will share with us some info?
Okay, I'll be sharing for Group 1. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Deborah.
Yes.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Catherine Deborah Madaga from Group 1, and I am here to present to you our rough pitch of whatever you're going to present next week. Yeah, okay. Yeah. We are going to start now in the interest of time. We have Kache. Kache is a woman and to say that culture relates to all of us in a way or another. Culture for the ladies, culture can be me or you. And for the gents, culture can be your mom, your sister, or it can also be your girlfriend. And this happens once every month. Culture goes through pain, mostly because of her periods. And you mostly wonder, why does Kache, why is always Kache in moods? Why is she grumpy during this time of the month? Why does Kache always ask for chocolates during this time of the month? You fail to understand why, right? Yeah, so instead of chocolates, we offer relief. What is the problem is that, yeah, Kache is in pain, Kache is always moody, Kache all the catches and cramps. So what are we offering? We decided to offer relief. Relief is a tea, a herbal tea to be specific, that relieves pain. It increases the iron productivity of the woman and also boosts the mood. Our products consist of different ingredients. Yeah, we have the moringa ginger and the raspberry, for different tastes and flavors. But we noticed our opportunity in the market because mostly whatever is in the market is mostly the chemicals, and mostly it's given through the medicines, the painkillers that one has to afford during that time of the month. So we decided to come up with an alternative. We called it relief, the major alternative. Instead of using these chemicals which get used to the body, which as time goes by, you have to change the medication because it has gotten used to the body, and the body cannot really process the drug. You have to either increase the dosage or use another drug. We decided to come up with a herbal product which is organic and does not cause addiction. You're not addicted to it. It has a nice taste, a sweet taste. You can usually take it as a tea, majorly taken during the period of during that period, that is 5 days. And we decided to majorly start producing it in the 2 counties in Kenya, the Coast region and in Nairobi. This is because of how situated we are. Some of us are in Nairobi in our group and some are in Mombasa. So we decided to start by producing in these 2 counties so that we can see, so that we see how is the response, how are the people responding to it, is it truly working or not? And we decided to start, because we are 5 in our group, we decided to start with 250 bags, 50 for each person, so that as we proceed, we get the feedback from people. Do we need to change our ingredients? Do we need to change our taste? Do we need to add more ingredients? Does it work or not? And our financials, we decided to start selling it at 100 bob per piece. So we decided to sell it at 100 bob per piece, which is affordable at all costs to anyone. And that's basically our product that you're going to be producing. Thank you.
So thank you, Deborah, for the short presentation of your business idea. I think, first of all, very well done in regards of your just presence and presentation by yourself. You're very open and person I like to listen to, so therefore you're really taking up the space, which is a very good first step of an entrepreneur to step up and be present and also to convince your audience. So that was very well done. I don't know whether you had the chance to put together some slides or a presentation. I think it would have helped me to follow some of the numbers and your ideas and ingredients with a bit of support, because there was a lot of information.
We came up with
okay, so maybe next time
we came up with the slides, but we will send them to you once we are done with everything, even all financials. We will send them to you.
Actually, you don't need to send them to me. It's important next time that you show it during your presentation.
Okay, we will share our screen.
Perfect. And I also liked how you started to incorporate the storytelling in the beginning, so that you had it with this person and tried to build up a very understandable, empathetic life or person. I think you could even make it a bit more relatable and build a bit more around it, and especially in the end, maybe come back to the culture and say, look, now she's happy, or I don't know, her parents, her friends are more relieved when it's this time of the month because she's now smiling, or something like this, so that you have a nice frame of storytelling around it. Yeah. So thank you very much. Maybe someone else wants to continue with feedback.
Yeah, I can build on what Anne said. Deborah, thank you very, very much. I really loved especially the intro. You know, I think Katja, you pronounce it. So basically your persona, really amazing job. Also the other parts, I think it was very easy to follow. It's a relatable product. What I would suggest is sometimes slow down just a little bit, because Anne said it, you take up the space. I think Anne mentioned there's like two types of persons, more maybe the introvert that have to speak up, and I think you're more of an extroverted person who sometimes just take a breather. You know, but for example, between, okay, this is the problem, and then you count in your head 1, 2, and then you continue, and we have the solution. Just add certain elements in between. Sometimes not speaking can be a very powerful additional tool to just, you know, you've made your point about the problem, just let it sink in for 1 second. And I think this would then help you even more. But otherwise, I think, you know, the problem is very well described, your opportunity, why basically what you do different to your competitors. I can't really judge the financials yet. I think there, as Anne said, a slide would help really a lot. And be confident. If you say it's 100 per piece, it is, because you then quickly, you know, stumbled and repeated it again. You know, you are the expert about your product. If you say it's 100, it's 200, it's 1,000, that's the price you sell it for. But so just 2, 3 things, but yeah, great job. Thanks, Deborah.
Thank you too.
Anyone else? Otherwise, I think we move to group number 2.
Good. Let's move to group number 2.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hello everyone. So for group 2, I'll do the sharing of the screen, and 02 Mick will do the presentation.
Hello everyone. These are the Nexus crafters, and basically our idea is an innovative online platform which is tailored specifically for farmers, designed to revolutionize the way they manage their agricultural operations, connect with other farmers, and access essential resources and information. It serves as a comprehensive digital hub that addresses the diverse needs as farmers, from crop management, market access, and fostering a sense of community and collaboration. So as a person, as a child of a farmer from one of the farming areas in the country, and understanding the essence of how farmers are struggling with getting access to the market, as a person, as an individual also, we have come up with these ideas so that to help such farmers, such as my dad to be specific, such as different other people in the country that rely on farming as a major economic resource on the same, so that they can be able to at least get something to put on their tables. And that's why we came up with the idea as Nexus Crafters. Please, can we move on to the next slide? Okay, I think I'll just continue. He'll catch up with me later. So he has some connection problems. I'm sorry. So I'll just continue with the same, if it's okay. Yes. So our idea is basically coming to solve the limited access to economic and uncertainty to farmers, insufficient and wastage in the agricultural supply chain. There is that lack of transparency and accountability in the transactions that is happening currently, and there's that difficulty in accessing essential agricultural services, challenges in sourcing high quality farm products. There's that limited opportunities for farmers to participate in those export projects, and there's that challenge in sourcing the high quality farm products. So basically, after realizing the problems that we have been facing and that farmers have been facing as a whole and as a group, we came up with this idea, we came up with the solutions so that we can be that of help to this whole community at large. Now, what is the Nexus Crafters? So Nexus Crafters basically is this platform that wants to connect directly the buyer, or rather the farmers directly to these market products, or rather to a market that we are creating for them. The solutions that we are offering as a platform basically is to have that sufficiency, supply chain efficiency that we want to create within the people that, sorry, that we want to create within the people by streamlining that procurement process, and basically having our platform reducing the inefficiencies and minimizing the wastages in the agricultural supply chain. We are having that aspect of quality assurance. This is basically where buyers can source high quality farmed products with confidence thanks to the platform quality assurance mechanisms, where you don't just source out the products. Basically, we are coming with a platform that is basically there. We are trying to come out with the best out of what the farmer is just producing. So the farmer is not just basically posting or coming up with a product that is not. We have some standards that have to be met for that platform so that the same is successful. The major part of it is we are providing a market access, which most farmers are lacking. Farmers gain access to a broader market, increasing their profitability and reducing their economic uncertainty, meaning that these farmers will have a chance to sell out their products from different areas, not just around their space, different places across. And also we are increasing the main profitability of the same, because come on, we are going broader, we are going larger, so there's high chances of you getting more from the same. We're having that aspect of access to access to services. As we talk about the access to services, basically it's more of just connecting the buyer, or rather the farmer, with the buyer or the consumer of the products, because we are also having that access to services, in that we are here to make sure that you don't just acquire a product and it doesn't get to you. We are here to make sure that the product gets to where you want it to be. If you're acquiring a product from you are in Nairobi, you're acquiring a product from Kiambu, you're acquiring a product from a different county in that case, meaning that we shall create a service. This platform will be able to make sure that that product gets to that farmer as easily and as okay as possible. We are also having
1 minute left.
the aspect of yeah, we're having the aspect of export opportunities. Our export services, we are open up to market for farmers, enabling them to expand, reach, and increase their revenue, and having that whole platform that is centralized on the same. So basically, we had the chance just to create some few slides, not all of them. I will start off, and that's it from us right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the two of you, for sharing and pitching. Who wants to go first? Jerry.
I see different hands. I don't know. Who wants to start, Corrado or Maya? Or is it actually another clapping? Sorry. Okay. um,
Well, I could start with the feedback then.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Meek, thank you also from my side. As part of the team, I'm happy to see that we got something presentable. But I wanted to add some points. I think what we can work on, what you can work on is the slides were quite filled. Even though I know what you're talking about, I think it's quite difficult or could be difficult for others to understand what this idea was about. So work less with a lot of words, but maybe more with pictures actually, and explain in simple terms what the solution is. I think since I know what's happening, I kind of understand what you meant by it, but I could imagine it was difficult to grasp for others.
I would actually have a suggestion here, Meek. I think the kickoff was great with, I think you said something around, I'm the son of a farmer, something like that, right? I think your solution now, for example, compared to group one, is a little bit more complex. You know, it's a platform, it has several sides. What you could do is always link back to how it then helps your father, or, you know, the target person, you know, say, and then this person would get this and this and this, would profit, something like that, that you always have this I mean your persona in mind, and you can always emotionally connect to this person that then will use the platform, and what this person will gain from this platform. I think I got it mostly, but I agree with Corrado. If you can make it maybe a little bit more simple, I think because the idea is there, and you have the basic structure that's also there. Now just work on the small details, and I think your pitch will be great. Anyone else who wants to share some feedback? Any questions, Meek or Frederick? Do you think you have the information you need to be ready next week?
Yeah, so far, if I have any inquiries, I think I'll just inquire the same as I move on, if it's okay.
Yeah, of course. Just reach out to us. Ask all your questions. We're here for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Then let's move to group number 3. Julius, who will take on the presentation?
Exactly. Group 3 already has a pretty nice slide deck prepared. Yeah. And is proudly present their approach today. I hope we don't have any internet connections. Otherwise, I guess we're good to go.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Jane, and I'm glad to take us through our product. So I know at one point you have wanted to take a loan, and the lender notified you that you're either eligible for that loan or not. So what they use to determine that is a model. Currently, the models which are in the market have a limitation in that it will only give you a numerical value without a clear explanation as to why you are not eligible for such a loan. Hence, it's bringing inaccuracy. Annette, if you can go to the next slide. Thank you. Okay.
Guys, could someone kindly share their screen with a stable internet connection? Thanks, Annette. Perfect.
Wrestling match almost broke out.
No, you're fine, sorry.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for that. So, like I had said, the current models which are in the market have a limitation in that they'll only give you a numerical value without a clear explanation as to why you are eligible for that specific loan or not. So hence that is bringing a lot of errors and a lot of revenue is lost. So that's why we are solving this problem using a reliable loan default predictive model specifically tailored for the Kenyan market and which has advanced features to solve this particular problem. I'll now invite Hamisi to take us through the product. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Okay, the product here that offers the solution to the problem statement stated by my colleague. So the name of the product is LendPro Insight, and basically LendPro Insight is an innovative loan prediction tool that is designed for Africa, but currently we have narrowed it to meet the Kenyan economy, the Kenyan culture, and also to meet the Kenyan regulatory conditions. So LendPro Insight uses much technology and up-to-date technology such as explainable AI for transparency and easily understanding it. It also uses a diverse sources of data such as data from credit bureaus, data from financial institutions like banks and other lending institutions, so that it helps to analyze spending patterns, account balances, and existing debts. Maybe data from mobile money transactions and not limited to social media data, so that you can analyze an individual's lifestyle and behavioral patterns. So all of this is to give financial institutions to give financial institutions clarity and confidence in making these lending decisions. And at the end, it will help in making the lending process fair and successful for both borrowers and lenders. And for the opportunity as such at LendPro Insight, to believe lending in the person-to-person sector can improve in the long term, and also risks can be hedged, not only in Kenya, but Africa at large. So for the next part, I'll invite my colleague Heather to take you through the market size and the competition analysis. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. So our market size, we're basically targeting Africa. So our term is 60%, which is approximately 876 million. And then our serviceable available market is 350 million, which is approximately 40%. And then our sum is approximately 50 million, which is about 175 million like target customers. And then our competition analysis. At LendPro Insight, we acknowledge the presence of our competitors, which include international fintech companies, local data experts, and credit bureaus. But then we also find out that our competitors have some limitations, which include they lack deep understanding of the local market, which is mostly due to insufficient or unreliable data. That is, they can't verify the timeliness of the data. We can also say, they basically focus primarily on credit reporting rather than predictive analysis. But at Lend Pro Insights, we are focusing on diverse data sets, which includes in-depth market knowledge, where we incorporate also socioeconomic factors. Therefore, we are reducing potential bias. And then we are also incorporating the ability to offer solutions to meet user-specific needs, whereby it's one of the unique features of our product.
1 minute left.
We are integrating the core pilot, and then we are using cutting edge technology and expertise in data analysis, machine learning, and AI.
Okay, so in our business model, we had a very elaborate business model where our key partners will be the banks, the technical companies, and the major key activities will be on the model development and validations, the data acquisition and processing, since we need to have the resources to know why is this person eligible for him or she to have this loan. Yeah. And the key resources here will be like the hardware and the hardware and the IT setup, which mainly will include technological infrastructure, the data scientists, the analysts, and the partnership and the networks. And our value proposition, which will actually lead to the accurate loan predictions, we'll need to have like accurate risk assessment, risk
Okay, I'm so
mitigation.
sorry. I need to stop here. The 7 minutes are up. Thank you very much. So apologies for interrupting, but we are very tough with the time, because when you are on the Shark Tank, you won't get any more minutes than provided in the first place. First of all, thank you for your pitch. It was very interesting to listen to your business idea and product. It was also very interesting to see a completely different idea. What I liked about your pitch was that you definitely worked as a team. It was great to see how one person started and then evolved with another team member, another team member, another team member. So I was very positively impressed by at least the teamwork you presented. Also, the slides were highly evolved already and good to go, which was nice and good to follow. As you just realized, the time ran out. So even when you have a great pitch deck, please make sure that you adjust it to the time frame, and also maybe some financial terms. Make sure that all the audience understands it. I think with the jury, you have a good jury which is familiar with the financial market, but just to make sure that everything is clear. And yes, also I really like the beginning of your pitch, where you started to state the problem. Maybe you can try to incorporate a bit more of the storytelling, so that you, I don't know, for example, that you present a target customer, make it a bit personal, so that those financial parts and numbers get a better face, let's say, and that people can relate more easily to it. I saw first implementation where you said maybe you know that you don't get a credit or something, but I think this first part you can evolve a bit better. So in general, I liked it, and there are some small adjustments you can focus on to create a very good pitch for next week.
And to add what Anne said, I think compared to the first two groups who maybe still have to create something even more, in your case, it's now you have everything and now you need to trim it down to these 5 to 7 minutes. But also the slides you quickly flip through, so you basically have everything. Now it's all about getting it in the time frame. For example, you don't need to show the whole business model canvas. Focus on what are the most important things: value proposition, costs, and your target customer. Everything else, this is what Jimmy mentioned before, have it at the top of your head. So if there's a question about who are your key partners, then you can show it. But now because it is tough, 5 to 7 minutes, so maybe that would be one thing I would suggest, maybe trim it down. And similarly to what Anne said, start really with a story. I think your product or your service, the platform is, you can say, imagine this and this person, she or he wanted to buy an apartment, family of 2 kids, but then her loan got rejected, something like that. And then you have like this cinema or this film in your head, and you can imagine the situation, I think. But you're gonna do great. Yeah, Andrew?
Okay, so just some quick feedback. First of all, very good work. At the beginning, I think the idea wasn't very clear, but I think from the presentation, it came out really very clearly, and that's very good. Also very good work with you guys working together. So one person presenting this and the next person presenting that. And I think apart from that small hiccup at the beginning, you picked up so well, and everyone was able to present what they wanted to present. I will also just repeat this at the beginning. Make sure to put that story and make sure it's a captivating story, because that's what will catch the attention of whoever the jury is or whoever your audience is. If you do not catch them at the beginning, you will not have them throughout the presentation. Another important aspect is prepare well beforehand. So you lost a few minutes at the beginning because there was this small hiccup of the presentation, and you realized at the end and refused to add you any more minutes, and that's exactly how it will be. So please be prepared and know that everything is in place. When you're presenting, you just present. And then, like Jimmy said, don't give too many details. Too many details will eat up your time, one, and some of them are not very necessary at the pitch. So for example, you displayed your entire model canvas. That's unnecessary. Just pick up the important points in there, but make sure you also have the rest of the details in your mind, so that in case there's a question concerning anything, you are able to answer it really quick. But that's very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. I think that group 3 received a very well-established feedback. So let's continue with group 4. Okay, can someone step up to present?
I guess Duncan will do so.
Yes, I'm presenting.
Perfect.
Sorry, I had some network challenges. Hello, guys. So my name is Duncan Bandari, and I'll be presenting for Group 4. These are the slides that we prepared. They are not up to the standards yet, but they're what you're going to use for now. So the problem that we are addressing is non-communicable diseases. It is a growing challenge globally, and especially here in Kenya. It causes about 57 million deaths globally are attributed to NCDs, which are predominantly cancer, diabetes, chronic lung diseases, and cardiovascular diseases. In Kenya, the Ministry of Health predicts that by 2027, it is going to be one of the country's main disease burden, of which its primary causes, which are preventable, are tobacco use and exposure, unhealthy diet, and physical inactivity with consumption of alcohol. With our business, we are going to mainly target the issue of unhealthy diets, considering that people do not pay attention to what they eat, or rather the what is being offered by restaurants at the moment does not cater to the needs of people with NCDs. So what we will be offering as a restaurant catering for people with NCDs is tailored menu options. With this, the restaurants will offer dishes specifically designed to meet the dietary needs of people with NCDs, focusing on low sugar, using the right amount of oil, considering that our restaurant is going to have nutritionists and dietitians who are going to monitor how these meals will be prepared, because that's our unique selling point. The other thing that you're going to be offering is education and awareness initiative to these NCDs as a restaurant, as a solution to reduce this number of deaths, to make people aware how to combat them, and if you have them, how to live well with them. And definitely what we will be offering as a restaurant, eating well. Another solution that we'll be offering as a restaurant is support the community health efforts, bringing people with these NCDs together so that they don't feel left out, so that they don't feel like they're secluded and they can't eat the same meals as other people are eating. This point also aligns with the next points of fostering social inclusion. Our restaurant also aims to set a positive example for the food industry, considering now that there are few of these restaurants catering for people with NCDs. The products, first of all, I'll go to the fourth point on the slide, the restaurant services, which is our main source of revenue, with dining experience and nutrition options and on our menu. The people with NCDs will have a variety of foods to choose from, which are well prepared to suit their needs. On top of these restaurant services, we'll have the counseling services for our customers, considering that we'll be having the nutritionists and the dietitians working with us, and they'll be in the restaurants full time. We'll have tailored meal plans for our customers. This is because people with such diseases are prescribed to eat specific meals at specific times, but this is not possible because the restaurants are not offering that. But with the tailored meal plans, we'll be able to give the customers that the food that they need, maybe to match with the medications that they are taking. Also, as an addition to our products, we'll be having cookbooks and recipe guides to guide the people who maybe will be wanting to prepare the meals by themselves at home. For times maybe they won't be feeling like coming to the restaurant, as a source, which is also going to be a source of
1 minute
revenue
left
for us. And also catering classes for that matter. Our team members comprises of people who have been who know a bit of the restaurant business and are also well versed in the business sector. And yeah, we feel like we are going to work together to put this idea into action. We are not able to tackle the market share part and the financial part within the breakout sessions, but that is supposed to follow. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Duncan. Does someone want to start with a feedback? Because otherwise you only hear Alex and my voice.
If you want to, I can do a little feedback. I mean, I'm the coach, but I mean, I gave already some feedback. I mean, Duncan knows where to work on. So with the presentation and the team, I said that it's like many slides are still a lot wordy. So I think from the slide perspective, you know what to do more or less. So we talked about it, and I think we will do this, or you will do this afterwards. Also on the financial part, I think you can give some facts and figures on this. Now maybe more on the pitching part. I think from the beginning, once you practice the pitch a little bit more, and I think you know the content a little bit more, you can try to make this a little bit more storytelling like. I don't know if you can be, once you have the content really in mind, try to convince more about it and try to include a little story, as you had like the bullet points from the facts and the problem statements, like the facts and figures. Maybe you can really make a story out of it and make it a little bit more shocking, being like there are more and more people suffering from these diseases, and that's why we have the solution. Maybe be a bit more catchy on that point. I think you can hook more people with this once you're really catchy on this, because it's an actual problem. I think that's my feedback.
And Duncan, what Janina just mentioned, this can also be one tactic to shock people, actually. So maybe even use pictures of the problem, because I think the problem as the beginning was very well worked out. So you have the numbers, you have everything. And what Janina mentioned now, you can form it into the story. Like, okay, we have this, and this problem. For example, also for me, maybe also a quick definition of what NCD disease is would have helped in the beginning. I know you then touched upon it, but just, you know, what falls under this term, and then you know, use elements such as, and we have I don't know, Anthony, who is aware of this problem but faces, because you have two problems, right? You have this general, the trend, and then the actual problem you're trying to solve is there's no offerings in the space of healthy food. So there you could then hook in with the story of a person who wants to diet in a certain way, and then say, okay, we offered this person this, and this. But I think you have all the information there. Now it's all about shaping it a little bit more in yeah, in this in a
Okay.
way what Anne taught you today.
Yeah,
But
maybe
it,
also
it sounds
just
now negative, Duncan. You have, it's great work and you have everything that you need.
as I want to say, I just quickly want to link in. First of all, well done to work out the problem, how the numbers are put. You can really see how much research and effort you put into it. Also, how you developed your problem. And the solution and the product. Also, here I would add focus is key. Really only focus on the essential numbers, on the essential shocking things you want to present. And also, I don't know how you normally speak. Maybe it was the first time that you did this pitch and didn't have all the information together, but I think that you have more potential to be a bit more enthusiastic about it and also present the solution with more confidence. At the moment, it was a bit more like a presentation you would usually do at school. And we aim to go into that pitching part where you're convinced of your product and your business idea. So I see you next time, so next week, with a convincing pitch and hopefully more of your personality being in a very convincing position so that you can win the jury.
Okay, thank you.
But well done, Duncan. And really looking forward to to hearing the pitch next week.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the last group, group number 5.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Kevin.
First, I'm really sorry. I had an unstable network, so I won't be able to share my video.
Okay. Then go ahead, do it on the voice track.
Should I share the slides, Kevin?
Yeah, sure,
Or
no worries.
do you want to do it without slides today?
I can just do it without slides.
Okay. Stage is yours.
Okay. My name is Kevin, and I grew up. Hello, my name is Kevin, and I was born here in Nairobi City. People call it the capital city of Africa. And growing up, I developed the urge of taking care of the environment, but I never knew how I can use my skills, my talent to take care of the environment. So that's where we came up with this idea with our group, and whereby we realized that the world has a growing pollution crisis because marketing often prioritizes over design over sustainability. And in real sense, we also realize that most businesses and organizations really don't know that the marketing material and the design choices they have impact on the environment. So on our solution, we decided that we're going to solve this problem by we're going to use eco-friendly materials that for our printing services, like we're going to use like biodegradable inks and recyclable packaging when doing our design processes. Then we are going through our designs, we're going to create compelling designs which are going to convey messages that are sustainable, that shows the importance of sustainable importance to the environment. The impact we are solving is first of all the major one, which is environmental conservation. We do this because we reduce the environmental harm practices in graphic design, branding, and printing, whereby I say that we use eco-friendly materials, we use biodegradable inks. Then number 2, we are going to our solution impact is threefold. Number 1 is environmental conservation. Number 2 is community engagement, whereby we are going to foster awareness and positive change through collaboration with schools and environmental organizations. Then, because we are an art hub, we are going to support artists. Like for instance, we are going to approach artists who are working on art, and they give us the mandate to sell their artwork on our platforms. On our business model is we offer graphic design, which is sustainable sell art, and we also have eco-friendly. This is the way I can answer. Maybe we're not going to be 100% because some of the banners we are going to use, maybe we design a banner, and let's say for instance, education approaches and they want us to design a banner for them. That banner is going to be plastic, but at the end of the day, and ask them the banner because they will no longer be using the banner. So you're going to donate that banner to maybe a company like Bags. Then number two, it's on our delivery services. We're going to partner with companies like Iwaka, where they offer, they do e-mobility. So this means that we are going to deliver our services in an eco-friendly way. Number three is maybe partnering with companies like Big Fish, where for every client we get, we are going to plant and improve mangrove tree. So that's all along, it all revolves around sustainability. Just like any design company, but our value proposition is we blend and yeah, I think I'm done in case of any question or feedback.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you so much for your pitch. I will try to give a feedback. It was really hard. The internet connection, yeah, was pretty bad. So, I mean, first and foremost, nothing you can do about it today, but please make sure you or the group that next week that you can have a stable internet connection, be it the internet cafe at home, a university, work, somewhere. Because sometimes we heard something and then it was again 1 minute break. So if I understood correctly, I think you've started really well with kind of, you talked about yourself and what the problem was, about that most marketing and design choices are economically very unfriendly, and that you want to solve this. Here, what would help me is maybe quantify it a little bit. I don't know, like, is it every company? How much is the impact? How much can you reduce it with your solution? Because just in a field where, yeah, what are we talking about? How many tons of CO2 exposure or whatever in this sustainability area? And then at the beginning of the solution, I'm not sure if you said it, maybe it's the internet connection, but I would wish for clearly that you state, okay, we are an art hub. You mentioned this then later, that offers this, and this. And then you go through your services. It wasn't 100% clear for me, but it might have been also that I didn't understand it. Other than that, yeah, in the end, I to be honest, I'm not sure what you then covered. The connection then interrupted. But the beginning, I liked, just small things that could be tweaked and improved. Maybe anyone else, Yannick, who was with the group, or Anne?
Maybe I just once more, I told it the group already. Unfortunately, we didn't get too much work done today. So please make sure that you are prepared for next week. Also look at the slides again that Anne presented today. Prepare the pitch, try to have something visual as well, a PowerPoint presentation or something. Most of it already, well, the content already is ready. We've discussed it in the past modules. Also, the assignment that you handed in last week was very good. Some parts of it for sure that you can use for your pitch. So basically all the content is here. You just have to make sure that you can organize yourselves, that you can prepare a good pitch for next week. And that also someone of you can share it then next week, and that you have stable internet connection and everything works. It would be a shame if after all the work that we've put in, you won't be able next week to give a good pitch and to present the content that we have worked out in the past week. So please try to do that, and then let's hope that it will work also for you next week.
Thank you, Yannick. I think that was actually a good wrap up for for the session. I will stop the feedback here because I see it's already 8 Kenyan time and 6 our time. So therefore, I would like just to summarize some few points that you are very clear on the scope of next week's session and also what you need to do and prepare. So first of all, thank you very much for your work and also participating. All of the groups could present or pitch something today, which is the first step and the start. But until next week, you still have a bit of work to do. So please make sure. So next week we have our session, which is about 2 minutes, where you will pitch to a jury of 3 people, which is Jimmy, Andrew, and Marco Kundet, which is from our side, from BearingPoint. And these are professional pitches. So what you need to have is a professional pitch deck adjusted to the length of your pitch. Your pitch will have the same 7 minutes as you had today. So make sure that your pitch is maybe only 2 or 3 or 4 slides, not more, and that you reduce it to that length. Secondly, make sure that you have a stable internet connection. I know it's challenging, but at least when you realize that you don't have a stable connection, that some other team member can jump in with a stable connection. So please make sure that you can present with a stable connection and find a solution for it. Thirdly, you will have now 1 week to finalize your pitch. So your pitch is the presentation, like the pitch deck, and also the content and the part you're speaking. So make sure that you split the work in your group, that you meet up and find time for training or practicing, so that you can have a very good pitch by next week. And for you, it's a great opportunity this next week to get a first feeling of how it could be when you're in front of investors. So please take it. And also, it's basically the last step and the goal of this entire academy. So use it. And since is the last milestone of our academy, we also have a bit of motivational leverages, let's say. So we have 5 groups, and for the first 2 groups which had the best pitches, they will receive prizes. For sure, the first place, a bit bigger one than the second one, but this will be a surprise. And I hope that this is a bit more of a motivation to you to use that week and improve your pitches. Okay, until then, I just want to remind you again, please use that time, have a professional pitch prepared by next week. You only have 7 minutes to present it in front of the jury. And this will be a good opportunity for you for a real life exercise to train your pitching skills and to train your, let's say, business idea presentation skills. With that, I hope that you had a good module. It was a long one and I think a bit difficult and challenging one, but however, I hope that you enjoyed it and had fun and that you feel prepared for next week. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Your coaches are very familiar with the business idea, so I think they can help you with that. If you have other questions, reach out to Alex and myself. If you have technical questions, please ask Victor. And with that, thank you very much. I wish you a very pleasant evening, and we're looking forward to hear your pitches next week.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye-bye.
Very much, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you all.
Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you. Bye.